Liv, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here today.
Well, this is my first ever parenting podcast. It's a very new space for me.
Is it really? Oh, well,
Yeah.
yes. I captured you just before
Yes.
on the cusp of becoming a parent. And we love that because I feel like I love to just pick people's brains around what it is that you sort of are envisioning when it comes to having this massive lifestyle, milestone moment. How are you feeling first and foremost?
Well, we were saying off mic, I unfortunately am not feeling great at the moment, it's such a shame because I felt so good for a while. Like up until 20 weeks, I felt pretty awful, just like a daily hangover.
Yes.
Morning sickness is a lie. Yeah. It is all day sickness. Usually I'd start to feel better in the evening when I had nothing I needed to do, but feeling terrible when you've got to get stuff done. It's so frustrating. Yep. And then from 20 weeks until 26, I felt amazing. I didn't need to nap to get through the day. I was eating whatever, my appetite was great and I could work out. I felt really good. And these last couple of weeks, it's taken a bit of a turn. I've been throwing up a bit and just, not feeling good. So it's a bit of a roller coaster. But baby's growing. He's great. He's kicking away. So, as long as he's fine, then it's all worth it.
Yeah, 100%. I feel so privileged that you have rallied to be here. If you feel nauseous at any point, just let us know.
Thank you.
I've been there. So for those listening, I have Olivia Molly Rogers here with me today. She's an Australian model, podcaster and speech pathologist. I read that. I was like, I never knew that about you.
Yeah, well, I haven't been practicing for a while now.
Yeah.
I finished my degree in Adelaide 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then practiced for a couple of years and then moved to Melbourne, and then the whole Miss Universe thing happened. And so I couldn't really, when you're doing that, you can't really have a normal job in quotation marks. So you can't be too structured because you need to be available for lots of travel and all sorts of opportunities.
Yep.
But I did end up going back for a little while, but juggling something that is so rigid, which is being in a clinic, working with regular clients, versus the other work that I do that is so random. It was really hard to balance both. So something had to give, and it was speech pathology because I figure that is something I could go back to.
Yes.
Whereas I don't know, this kind of career, you never know how long it's going to last.
Yeah. What year were you it was Miss Universe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that just a whirlwind?
A long, long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, and still looking more fabulous than ever, my love.
It was a whirlwind. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And it's something I never saw myself doing, and doing the stuff that I do now as well. Like that was never my intention. My goal in my life and when all through uni was to get my speech pathology degree, and I just saw myself being a speech pathologist forever, and I would have been quite happy doing that.
Yeah.
Being a speechy, then one day becoming a mum, that was a dream. So my life really took a bit of a turn, but it's been amazing.
So wild. You cannot predict this stuff.
No.
You are such an advocate for mental health, eating disorders, body image, and you've built such an amazing presence on social media, and you're the host of Tell Me More, the podcast. Why the podcast?
Honestly, to fill the void that speech pathology left me. I think I love the opportunities that I get and the work that I get to do. But it can, if you're just going to an event, taking a photo, showing off your outfit, it felt a bit vacuous at times for me, and I just felt like I was missing some substance in my life. And speech pathology, I was predominantly working with children, a lot of the time with intellectual disabilities and all sorts of difficulties, and helping them and their families, and that felt so meaningful. So then the contrast to what I was doing, it was leaving a bit of a hole, and I felt like I wasn't using my brain enough. I felt like I wasn't being challenged enough.
Yep.
So I wanted to have more meaningful conversations, talk about things that I really care about, and I do feel like the podcast has filled that void for me.
Yes, I can relate. Obviously, fellow podcaster, there's something about the conversation piece that I think versus, as you said, more the static, the photos and the videos that, and it's a conversation for more than 90 second reel, right?
Yeah.
It's like a proper, there's something so beautiful about that. And I feel like with every conversation I have, I learn something new as well.
Yeah.
So there's that element to it as well.
Yeah, it's so nice. And I love the research aspect. Because mine is predominantly interview based.
Yeah.
And when I'm researching my guests, I learn so much about them. It makes me read more books because if my guest has written a book, I'm always going to try and read that in time. So I'm cramming reading and I've really enjoyed that kind of research aspect again because I've missed that.
Yeah, so cool. I want to dial all the way back to 2023 when basically, there was a Nine Honey article which sort of said that you were thinking about having a child on your own at that point in your life and that, you had your divorce with Justin and you were sort of coming to terms with what is next for me. Talk to us a bit about that time.
Well, when I went through my marriage breakdown, the thing that I think I grieved the most was the fear of not having that family unit that I had pictured for myself. Because, not having a partner when you're in your 30s is daunting. And we're told all the time about our biological clock and how it's ticking and how there's just so much pressure around that. And I had tried to get pregnant in my marriage and it hadn't worked. I tried for a year. We had then started fertility treatment. And so I figured if I have issues and I don't meet the right person, is this never going to happen for me? And I know without a doubt how much I've always wanted to be a mum. Like I think over my life, so many things have changed when it comes to what I've wanted for my career and all of those things ebb and flow. But the one consistent want has always been to be a parent. And so it scared the shit out of me. I was like, I don't want that to be taken away from me. And I felt so much like anger around it because I'm like, for the men, they just don't need to worry about it like we do. They can have kids till they're 80.
Totally.
If they want.
Yeah.
And they do. But yeah, I felt so mad about that. And so that's why I chose to freeze my eggs because it felt like a way to sort of take back some control. And the last thing I wanted was to, if I did meet someone lovely, to put that instant pressure on it where it was like, just so you know, I want to have a baby in the next year.
Yes.
Because I really didn't want that to be, put too much pressure on a relationship and not let it flow as it naturally would otherwise.
Yes.
And so I froze my eggs and I think that every woman is better off if they have the means and support and, financial resources. They're better off having a baby on their own than having a baby with a man who makes them feel like shit and who won't be there to support them and isn't adding to their life because you end up with a couple of babies rather than just one.
Right.
So I, made that decision where I was pretty clear on it. I was like, unless someone amazing comes into my life who I think is going to be an incredible partner and father, I would consider looking into sperm donation and doing it solo.
And had you given yourself a bit of a time frame?
Not really. I think I was like, I'm just going to see. I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself. Yeah. So froze my eggs and that was quite a process, but I am really glad that I did it. And then I met Hugo.
Yes, literally a year later. Yeah. Well, 2024 was it?
No, I met him in 2023. So the end of 2023. Okay. So I froze my eggs in August. Yeah. And then I met him in November. Yeah.
And did you know immediately? What was it like? Did you know he was
there
the
was
one?
An instant something for sure. I've never had that before. And we sat and spoke that night that we met for like 2 hours. We went out, neither of us smoked. We went out to the smoker's room because there was nowhere quiet. We were at the Osborne. It's very noisy and not really conducive to good conversation. But we made it work. And I was just like, oh, this guy is just so kind and intelligent and he asked so many good questions and he really listened and there was just something really special about him. I got his number and as soon as I walked in my bedroom that night, I messaged him. I was like, I'm not playing it cool. Like I know he's good. Yeah. And just said I couldn't wait to see him again. And then our first proper date was a coffee date. And again, we sat there for 2 hours and the conversation was just flowing and I just felt so comfortable with him and it just felt easy and I called my mum after and I was like, he's the one.
Really? How soon after was the conversation around children? When did that present?
I told him pretty early on about I think within those first few weeks. Like once we started messaging, we were messaging every day. And I didn't want, the fact that I'd been divorced and had all this stuff that was in the news. I'm like, he could Google it and read all sorts of things. Yep. So I wanted to tell him my perspective on it all straight away. And I did. And he was so lovely and non-judgmental. And, rather than being like, I always feared once I went through that period of time that people would judge me for having a, failed marriage, as some people would call it. And the fact that it was so short-lived, I thought that they would judge me for that. But he was so lovely and was like, that would have been so difficult. And, it would have taken so much courage to get out of that situation. And, the way he was so understanding and compassionate when I talked to him about it was such a green flag. And then I told him all about the fertility treatment and how I'd frozen my eggs. And it was just a very open and easy conversation. And I never felt like he was scared by that, because I also wasn't saying we need to have babies soon. I was like, my eggs are on ice.
Yes.
If you want kids one day, we got heaps of time.
Did he always want to be a dad as well, or how did that go?
Well, he had also had a long-term relationship, and there were some things that they didn't align on. But he said that he had always wanted kids, which also, again, I'm like, I think at that point in my life I couldn't have continued dating someone who didn't want to have kids, because it was so important to me.
Yes.
But he had no real set plan in terms of like, I want to be married by this point. And, he's not very traditional in that sense. Like, he doesn't really mind which, I mean, it's worked out well, because we're not engaged, we're not married, and we're having a baby, and neither of us really care about that. Yeah. It's been interesting because people seem to care about that, but yeah, we don't.
Is that right? Everyone will have an opinion.
Yeah.
So how soon after then did you fall pregnant, and were you trying to conceive? Talk us through it.
No.
Okay.
So my fertility scared me a little because of my previous issues. But, there are two parties.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time women take the blame or blame themselves and feel like it's them, that is the problem, and that their body's not working. But I was doing everything I could, and I had done tests and my eggs were okay. I had polycystic ovaries, not polycystic ovarian syndrome, but, lots of cysts in my ovaries. Okay. But my doctor had said that's not necessarily a reason that fertility would be an issue. But because of all of that, I just thought, when the time is right and we want to try, it'll probably take a while. So I had stopped contraception and was just trying to get my cycle in order for when we tried, which would, in my mind, was at least 6 months off. My cycle the month before I fell pregnant was only 19 days long. And I think the month before it was like 36 days. So like, it was all over the place. I was tracking everything, but I'm like, I could be ovulating at all sorts of times, or I might not be ovulating at all. So I was very shocked when I found out I was pregnant.
Can you talk to us about when you found out?
Yeah. So we'd had just a pretty normal weekend. Like, we love doing pretty chill things on the weekend. And on the Sunday I was so tired. I napped for 2 hours, and that's really weird for me.
Okay.
And I was just like, why am I so tired? I felt jet lagged. And then my boobs were really sore. My boobs have never been sore. Like, lots of friends of mine get sore boobs when they get their period, but I had never had that. And my period was like 5 days late. But again, my cycle was all over the place, so I didn't really think too much of it. But I had some pregnancy tests in my cupboard, so I was like, maybe I'll just do one. I didn't tell Hugo I was going to do it because I didn't think it was going to be positive. Okay. But then I actually thought to film it, because I thought, if this is the first of, a million negatives, then that's something that I think I want to have as well. Yeah. So I was filming it assuming it would not be positive. It was positive. And I was so shocked. It's so weird. I think no one knows really how you're going to feel in that moment. Maybe different when you have been trying for a while. But I had already experienced lots of negative tests when I had been trying previously in my marriage. So I know that deflating feeling. But I think because we hadn't been trying, I wasn't like hanging that much on it. So yeah, I was just so rattled and emotional. And then Hugo was in the other bathroom and I was calling out to him and he came in and he thought something was really wrong because of the drama in my voice. And then when I told him, he was so lovely and was like, "Oh, it's good, my love. I thought it was going to be something bad, but it's good." So he was so lovely. And yeah, we were sort of laughing and hugging, and then we lay down on the bed and we were just like staring at the ceiling like, what the fuck?
Yes.
Oh my God. But then for that first, I think 4 weeks after finding out, I was just like not getting my hopes up to. I was excited, but then I was like, this probably won't be real. Like, I don't think that my body will hold this. Like, I just didn't have that much faith in it actually becoming a real thing. And, you know, we had the dating scan and that was really nice. We both got really emotional. Like when you hear the heartbeat, it's so exciting, so special, and it makes it feel more real. But even still, I was like, and, you know, my mum and my sister kept saying like, you know, it's very early, like trying to sort of prepare me if it wasn't to work out, I think. So yeah, I was quite cautious. But as the weeks went on and it, you know, I had more appointments and things started happening more and more, I was like, okay, this is happening. We're having a baby.
So your eggs are still on ice, but honey, you got pregnant naturally.
I know.
Isn't that just...
It is crazy. I genuinely think my body was like the first time around, let's not procreate here.
Yes.
This is not a good place for you to be doing this. There was so much in that situation where my body was telling me it wasn't right. I had terrible acne, like I was breaking out all the time. I had gut issues where I was to the point where I was seeing a gastroenterologist. I was trying to figure everything out, like doing all these tests all the time to be like, what is wrong with me? And then when I got out of that situation, it's like my body just relaxed and everything changed. And the last time I had a scan, and I don't know, like I'm obviously not a medical professional, so I'm just going to put that caveat there, but my cysts had gone. Like I don't have lots of cysts on my ovaries. Wow. So I don't know. Like my body was just not, my body was protecting me, I think.
Yeah, the
but
universe has its
with
ways.
Hugo, they're like, we need more Hugos in the world. Let's make a little one.
So good. I'm so wrapped for you guys. And I guess, have you sort of thought about like how you are going to prepare for this? Like, is this, what have you been thinking?
We've both been reading a lot of books.
Okay. Some
people are like, don't read too much, it'll confuse you. But both of us just like to be armed with lots of information. Yeah. And I figure the more I read, I'm not getting too attached to one author. Yes. I'm like, I want to take it all in, and then in the moment I'll be able to make an informed decision on what we want to do.
Yes.
I've been reading Dr. Golly's book, and he has some really good prompts about how to prepare in terms of like the conversations you should be having. And one he said was like, think about your childhood, both of you, and think about what you would like to emulate, and then equally what you would like to avoid as a parent. And I thought that was such a good idea, because I think maybe a lot of parents do that subconsciously, where you like try and overcorrect.
Yes, yeah.
But to actually have those conversations, I think, is so important. And also things like having a mental health plan for postpartum, and talking about, you know, the workload, like who's going to be doing what, what it's going to look like in terms of visitors, like all of those conversations. We're having a lot of those, which I think is great. And Hugo is very keen to read whatever I'm reading, and we talk about it a lot. And but yeah, I feel I'm generally, you know, I have anxiety. I've always experienced anxiety, but I have been so relaxed in pregnancy. And it's weird. I'm like, maybe my body loves the hormones, or like I don't feel anxious about a lot of the things that people try and make me feel anxious about. Like I feel like people are saying a lot of things like that just you wait comments that I'm like, oh, should I be more worried?
Yeah.
But I talked to my psych about it yesterday, and he was like, you've got plenty of anxiety for different things. You don't need to like force it. If you're not feeling anxious about something, don't try and feel anxious about it.
Absolutely. I think you're taking the
yeah.
right perspective as well as getting all the information and knowing that you're armed with it. So at the time you can make an informed decision based on what is best for you and the baby. I think about friends who got really attached to I want a natural birth versus I'm definitely doing cesarean and I want to definitely breastfeed. But then others are like, no, I'd be so flex on formula. But and all this so for me, for example, on the feeding front, I had engorged breasts. As soon as I gave birth, my boobs looked like Pamela Anderson,
Amazing.
hard as anything, spraying milk out, and they hurt. Not to scare you, but they hurt. And so then I was using these expressors that were making more milk, and then that was a nightmare. So then I used this Haka, which was the manual manual pump, and that is amazing. So if you have engorged breasts, that's where to go to. But the point is, it's just you can't predict, right?
I think the beauty of having it, I'm 33 now, and the beauty of having a baby at this point is my sister has 3 kids. Right. My brother has a baby.
Yes.
All my best friends have kids.
Yeah.
Except for one who's also pregnant right now. And so I've seen it all.
Yes.
I've seen all sorts of births.
Yes.
I haven't actually physically seen them, but they've told me all their stories.
Yes.
And I think from that, I'm literally anything can happen. So I just think you need to be open-minded.
100%.
And at the end of the day, I just want to be healthy and safe, and I want my baby to be healthy and safe, and whatever that is going to look like when it comes to giving birth, feeding, all of that.
Yes.
That's the priority.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just trusting my doctor. I'm my doctor's done this before. I have not. So
many times.
Yeah.
I'd love to round out with those people who are listening going, my life didn't take the route that I had initially anticipated. And I literally got chills as I said that, because I feel like your story is so beautiful in that, you had these plans and you thought it was going to go this way, but then it went that way. And it's just the way the chips have fallen is just crazy, and it's just so beautiful. To those people who might be sitting there listening, we have listeners who are trying to fall pregnant, who are single and trying to find someone who, and parents who might be struggling with trying to have their second. They had this plan and it's not going to plan. What advice would you give them when your life doesn't go exactly the way you thought it would go?
It's a really tricky one because everyone's situation is so different.
Yeah.
And I do want to note how difficult infertility is and how heartbreaking it is. And when I was going through it, my respect for women who go through that grew tenfold, and my empathy for them, because the fact that women have to go through this, and I know that it's hard for men who really want to be parents as well, not discounting that, but to physically go through the hormones, the injections, the pain, the emotions, on top of then still trying to maintain a normal life, a social life, a work life, showing up as you do with that going on behind the scenes. And often when you're going through it, it's a really private thing and no one knows that you're going through it. And you have to put on such a brave face, and then you've got friends all around you who are getting pregnant, and it is so hard. And I feel for those people so much. And the best advice that I can give, I think, is to make sure you've got a good support network. And, I just think it's not that helpful for people to say, trust the process, because you never know what's going to happen. And I think it's easy for me to say now, in the position that I'm in, sitting here pregnant, I'm so lucky. I'm just so lucky and grateful that it turned out the way that it did. So it makes me emotional. Because it could have been so different. And yeah, I don't ever want to make people feel sorry, I'm going to sip my water. I just think for people listening who are in the thick of it, there's not much you can say to make them feel better. And I'm sure it is hard for them probably. People have told me that it's hard for them to watch my content, because they related to me so much when I was going through that, that single period where I was in my 30s and thinking maybe I'll never have kids. It's a very common experience. But I do think that there is hope for a lot of women now, so much more hope. There's so many more options. And like I said, I think having a baby on your own, someone who I really love and respect is Angie Kent. She talks a lot about her journey. She's trying to conceive as a single mum. single mum by choice. And I think following people like that, maybe, curating your feed so you're not following lots of happy couples who are getting pregnant. Like, unfollow me if you need to, that's fine. But following people who are on the same trajectory as you to make you feel better about where you're at, because it is really hard. Yeah.
I think that's so beautifully said. Liv, thank you so much again.
I'm sorry for getting so emotional.
No, it's just honestly, when I look at your journey, I'm like, I feel emotional knowing, and I didn't live it. So, I wish you all the best for the rest of your pregnancy. And yes, we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, we'll have to chat on the other side when we see how things actually turn out.
Thanks again,
Thank
Liv.
you so much.